Hello, EBC Church family. I am Pastor Troy, and I want to give you some more updates what is happening at the Evangelical Bible Church of Dallas, Oregon. There have been some more changes that have come down from the state offices with the governor's executive orders that will affect our meetings moving forward. So I want to make sure that you are up to date on what is happening. One of the changes that has been implemented, which if you have not heard yet, you will be hearing shortly, is the mask requirement. The mask requirement, which was previously for people 12 and older, has now been adjusted to children 5 up through all adults. And so that the age limit for that has been lowered. So if you are coming with your children, please take note of that change, and they need to have masks for the children as well. Also, they're also restricting the sizes of venues here coming down in future services. And so that's going to affect our services as well. Now, this Sunday we will be operating exactly as anticipated. So please, if you're coming, reserve your spot either by calling the church office or online. And please note that once we get past a certain number, that everything will have to be in the overflow room. So if you're willing to be in the overflow room to start out with, that's greatly helpful. But however, afterwards, on August 2nd, as we try and wrap our heads around what works best, as our leadership comes together, as we try to understand the new regulations, our service times are going to be adjusted. Just to reiterate this, on August 2nd, we will have different service times. Instead of one service at 10 a.m., we will have 2 services. One at 9 a.m. and one at 11 a.m. So if you're registering to come to either of those in person, you need to stipulate which service you would prefer to go to, the 9 a.m. or the 11 a.m. and know that we can't accommodate the desires of everyone. And so we will be held at that point to a much stricter number of cap space, and we need to make sure that you articulate to us if either service works well, if you would prefer to wait an additional week if you can't go to the service time of your choice. But there will be 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. and you will register for one service or the other. Number 2, as many of you know, we recently met with a person that we are considering for the position of worship director and ministry assistant here at our church. One of the recommendations of the transition team that was put together even before I got here was to bring on additional staffing. This has been budgeted for, and yet everything got put on hold during the current pandemic. But we have recently interviewed a person by the name of Mike Hawes. He is still in some preliminary steps as we try and determine if this is what God is providing for our congregation. And so Mike was out here and able to meet with our elders as well as the worship team. And we are right now evaluating next steps. So we want you to be fully appraised and be transparent on what's going on. This is a non-pastoral and non-elder position. So this would fall under the elders to hire this position. But we also want to work with our church body, just involve you all in the entire process. But this has been really difficult as we've been separated and can't come together. We can't have a traditional meet and greet or potluck or dinner where everyone can come. So please keep the entire situation in prayer. Please keep the leadership in prayer as we try and determine what's best for the congregation moving forward to operate under the recommendations that have been given, with the authority we've been given, but even more than that, with our heart and our minds focused on our people and wanting to do right by you and to provide not only the best communication possible, but the best resources in place to help us grow in our relationship with God as we worship Him, as we reach out to our community, as we try to honor God in everything that we do. 3 and final, and really on the list of priorities, this is lagging, but we want to let you know, for those of you who are interested in the Israel trip this coming November, that is drifting down the calendar. So we are disengaging from our November dates, and we have secured some new dates in 2021. It looks like those would be in April of 2021. But just want to let you know that we have to be flexible because we don't know when all of this ends. And it doesn't only affect our own country, and it affects other countries such as Israel that we would travel to. So we want to look out for the safety of everyone concerned. We have to abide by the regulations of different countries and the procedures they will allow for travel. And just in the best interest of those coming, we wanted to let you all know early that looks like those dates have drifted down the calendar. So please be appraised. If you need more information, you can contact the church office or myself. Finally, continue to be in prayer. We need to pray that God would use us during this time, that He would give us open doors for ministry as a church body, but perhaps even more importantly as individuals, as we build relationships with our neighbors, with our friends, as we have opportunities to share the gospel, to engage with one another in the study of God's word, in prayer, in praise. So pray that God would use this time to better prepare us for future ministry, but not only for the future, but to be engaged today. That we wouldn't become discouraged, that we wouldn't become angry, but we would rather be hopeful to the Lord and say, God, how are you going to use me today? How can I be a witness and carry out the Great Commission in this time? Thank you. That's a lot of information. I'm sure you'll need some time to process it, but just in review, this Sunday will be at the 10 o'clock time. We will be live streaming at that time. Services will be by reservation being held on campus as well. But the following Sunday, there will be 2 services, 9 and 11, which will allow us to adjust better to what's going on. And then anything beyond that, we don't know yet. We don't know if there'll be new regulations. We'll see if that works better, and we will keep you up to date. Thank you for being flexible. We know not any of you want to be this flexible, but we're going to do the best we can, and we know God is in control. Thank you.